All right, let's dive into a story that is absolutely shaping our world right now. China's incredible, high-stakes push to become completely independent in the world of semiconductors. And believe me, this isn't just about your phone, it's about the future of global power.
So, why does this all matter? Why is a tiny little piece of silicon at the center of everything? It's a great question, because the answer really gets to the heart of this new global conflict. These chips, they're the brains inside literally everything, from your car to the most advanced military jets. And they've become the main battleground for who's going to be the world's tech leader. And in that fight, China is all in.
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll get into the why, the ambition itself. Then we're going to look at two key players right on the front lines, the massive giant Huawei and a super interesting AI innovator called DeepSeek. After that, we'll look at the huge roadblocks they're facing, and finally, we'll ask the big question, what does this all mean for the future of our technology?
Okay, first things first. To really get what's happening, you have to understand that China's push for chip independence isn't some new reaction to the last few years. Nope. This is a goal that's been in the works for decades, and right now, it's reached a critical boiling point.
I mean, this quest goes way back, starting with some help from the Soviet Union in the 50s. But the real fire was lit in 2014, when it became a top national priority. That's what really set the stage for their huge Made in China 2025 initiative and that fast-approaching deadline.
And this quote, well, it says it all, doesn't it? This isn't just about economics. For China's leaders, being able to make their own chips is a matter of national security, of sovereignty. It's viewed as completely, totally non-negotiable.
But here's the reality check. Back in 2020, the goal was to produce 58% of their chips domestically. The reality? They only hit 16%. That is a massive 42% shortfall. It just shows you how incredibly steep this climb really is.
So the big question is, how is China trying to close that huge gap? Well, let's talk about a name you definitely know, Huawei. Most of us think of their smartphones, but because of intense pressure from the U.S., the company has been forced to become a kind of national champion in this whole chip war.
I mean, just look at this transformation. It's night and day. Before all the restrictions, Huawei was a global company, working with partners from all over the world. After, they were basically forced to become the central nervous system for China's entire domestic supply chain. It was a complete pivot, born out of pure necessity.
So Huawei was under this immense pressure, right? Cut off from the world's best technology. And pretty much everyone thought, well, that's it. Their advanced chip dreams are dead. But then, in September of 2023, something happened that just stunned the entire industry.
They released the Mate 60 Pro smartphone, and the really crucial part was what was inside, a sophisticated 7-nanometer chip made in China. Now you have to understand, in the chip world, smaller is way harder, and this was a level of tech that US sanctions were specifically designed to prevent them from making. It was this powerful symbol of resilience, and it's a trend we're seeing continue with their newer phones.
But China's game plan isn't just about these massive hardware giants. Let's look at a totally different kind of player, DeepSeek. They're an AI innovator that's basically trying to rewrite the rules of the game, focusing on being super efficient and using an open source model.
Okay, this comparison is just wild. Look at the numbers. DeepSeek trained a really powerful AI model for about $5 million. Meanwhile, companies like OpenAI are spending billions, with a B. And yet, DeepSeek's performance is right up there with the best. And by making their models open source, they're building a whole collaborative community, which is the exact opposite of the closed-off approach you see in the West.
So what does all this mean? Well, the implications are huge. It proves that you can develop cutting-edge AI without needing the absolute latest and greatest Western hardware. Of course, this tech has clear military uses, and that open-source model helps create a domestic AI scene that's much tougher and more resilient to outside pressure.
So we've seen some incredible progress, right? From a giant like Huawei and a startup like DeepSeek. It might sound like they're unstoppable, but the road to true self-sufficiency is far from a sure thing. There are some absolutely massive, fundamental roadblocks still in the way. And this machine right here is arguably the single biggest roadblock of them all. It's called an EUV lithography machine. Just think of it as the most complicated, most essential tool on Earth for making the world's best chips. And one company, ASML in the Netherlands, has a near-total monopoly. China's access? Heavily restricted. Without these, you just can't make the most advanced chips at scale. Period.
And that one machine, that one choke point, is really just the beginning. China is also dealing with a major shortage of specialized talent.
They're under constant geopolitical pressure from export controls, and there's still a persistent gap in their ability to actually manufacture the most advanced AI chips. Any one of these would be a huge problem. Together, it's a mountain to climb.
So where does all this leave us? It leads to a deeply, deeply uncertain future. What does all this competition mean for the rest of the world? Honestly, we are living through a true turning point for the entire global tech landscape.
A lot of experts who follow this stuff closely are circling the year 2025 on their calendars. They believe that by the end of that year, we're going to have a much clearer answer to the big question. Can China's massive investment and national will actually close the technology gap for good, or are these obstacles just too big to overcome?
And when you boil it all down, it comes to this fundamental tension. On one side, you have this incredibly powerful push for total self-sufficiency, to control everything from start to finish. But on the other, you have the reality that, historically, the biggest breakthroughs have always come from global collaboration. China is caught right in the middle of this massive tug-of-war.
And that leaves us with a final vital question. As this tech competition starts to fracture the globe, are we heading towards a future where we live in two separate, incompatible digital worlds? One sphere led by the US and its allies, the other by China? The answer to that could very well define the next 100 years.